Calaroga Shark Media. Hello and welcome to Ghost. This episode is titled The Houndmaster.
In the small, fog-enshrouded town of Blackwood, nestled between dense, whispering forests and a restless sea, a legend had taken root. It was a tale that chilled the bones of even the bravest souls, the tale of the Houndmaster. As the name suggests, the Houndmaster was no ordinary ghost. Cloaked in shadows, he roamed the streets of Blackwood at the stroke of midnight, a spectral figure walking his equally ghostly dog. The dog, a massive beast with glowing red eyes and bared, snarling teeth, was a terrifying sight to behold. Residents of Blackwood whispered tales of the Houndmaster with a mix of fear and awe. It was said that his presence was heralded by a chilling wind and the faint jingle of the dog's collar. Those unfortunate enough to encounter them reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, their blood running cold in their veins. The Houndmaster, his face forever hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat, was a figure of mystery. No one knew who he was or why he walked the streets with his menacing companion, but one thing was certain: his dog was vicious, attacking anyone who dared to get too close. On nights when the moon was hidden behind thick clouds, casting the town into deeper darkness, the Houndmaster's steps echoed through the empty streets. The sound of his boots on the cobblestone, accompanied by the low growl of his dog, was enough to send shivers down the spines of Blackwood's residents. One night, a young man named Ethan, fueled by curiosity and disbelief in the supernatural, decided to seek out the Houndmaster. He waited at the town square, the clock tower looming overhead, its hands inching closer to midnight. As the clock struck 12, a dense fog rolled in from the sea, enveloping the town in a ghostly shroud. Then he heard it, the jingle of a dog's collar, followed by the rhythmic footsteps of the Houndmaster. Emerging from the mist was the ghastly duo. The Houndmaster, tall and imposing, walked with a measured pace, his dog by his side, its eyes burning like embers in the fog. Ethan, hiding behind a barrel, watched in both fear and fascination. Suddenly, the dog stopped, sniffing the air. It let out a low, menacing growl, its gaze turning towards Ethan's hiding spot. Before Ethan could react, the dog lunged, barking furiously, its teeth bared and ready to strike. Ethan screamed, stumbling backward as the dog snapped at him. The Houndmaster, with a swift motion, pulled the dog back, its leash creaking as if strained by an immense force. His hidden face turned towards Ethan, and a voice, deep and echoing, emanated from the shadows beneath his hat. "Leave now, or suffer the wrath of the Midnight Hound," the Houndmaster warned, his tone sending a chill down Ethan's spine. Ethan, his heart pounding in his chest, managed to stutter out a response. "Who are you? What do you want from us?" His voice was barely a whisper, drowned out by the oppressive silence of the night. The Houndmaster tilted his head, the brim of his hat casting a deeper shadow over his unseen face. "I am but a guardian of the night, a keeper of the boundary between your world and the one that lies beyond," he intoned, his voice a deep, resonant echo that seemed to come from the depths of the earth. "This hound, my eternal companion, serves as a protector of this threshold, heeds its growls, for they are warnings of the doom that awaits the unwary." One of the teens, trying to mask his fear with bravado, called out, "You're just a story, a ghost tale to scare kids. We don't believe in your curses." The Houndmaster's laughter was a low, rumbling sound that seemed to emanate from the ground beneath their feet. "Disbelief does not spare you from the truth of the night," he replied. "The Midnight Hound cares not for your beliefs. His teeth are real, as is the pain he inflicts." The dog's growls grew louder, more threatening, its eyes burning coals in the darkness. "He senses your fear, feeds on it," the Houndmaster continued. "It is a fuel that ignites his wrath. Leave now while you still can, for once the leash is dropped, your fate will no longer be in my hands." The air around them seemed to thicken with tension. the moment hanging in a delicate balance between caution and calamity. Ethan, his instincts screaming at him to flee, took a step back, the fear in his eyes reflecting the glowing eyes of the hound. "Remember this night," the Houndmaster whispered, his voice a chilling breeze. "Remember that the veil between worlds is thin, and there are entities that lurk in the shadows, waiting for the brave or the foolish. Go now, and let the darkness be a reminder of the Midnight Hound's mercy." With a final lingering glance at the spectral figure and his monstrous pet, Ethan and his friends turned and fled into the night, the sound of their pounding hearts drowning out the Houndmaster's eerie laughter and the jingle of the hound's collar. The next day, Ethan's tale spread through Blackwood like wildfire. The legend of the Houndmaster grew, adding a new chapter to the ghostly lore of the town. People stayed indoors at night, fearful of crossing paths with the spectral dog walker and his vicious companion. The Houndmaster became a symbol of terror in Blackwood, a ghostly enigma that haunted the streets at night. His true identity and the origins of his ghostly dog remained a mystery, shrouded in the shadows of the town's darkest fears. As the weeks passed, more sightings were reported. Each account was eerier than the last, with the Houndmaster seen walking through walls or disappearing into thin air, his dog always at his side, its growls and snarls a nightmarish melody for those who heard them. His appearances were always at midnight, the hour when the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. Local lore suggested that he was the spirit of a former resident of Blackwood, a man who had loved his dog more than anything in life and had met a tragic end. Some said he was searching for something or someone bound to the earthly realm by unresolved anguish. On one particularly foggy night, a group of daring teenagers, skeptical and seeking thrills, ventured out to challenge the legend of the Houndmaster. Armed with cameras and a sense of invincibility, they roamed the streets, calling out for the ghostly figure. As the clock tower bell tolled midnight, a sudden chill filled the air and the familiar jingle of the dog's collar echoed in the distance. The teenager's bravado faltered as the phantom walker emerged from the fog, his dog snarling viciously, its eyes a fiery red. The encounter that followed was chaotic and terrifying. The dog lunged at the group, its teeth snapping inches from their faces. The phantom walker, with a motion of his hand, barely restrained the beast, his voice a hollow echo in the night. "This is not your place, children of the living," he intoned, his words sending a wave of fear through the group. "Leave, before my hound's patience wears thin." The Houndmaster stood tall amidst the swirling fog, his ghostly dog straining against the leash, growling with unrestrained ferocity. He addressed the trembling teens with a final warning, his voice resonating with an eerie calm that belied the danger they faced. "This is your last chance. Leave now and never return to these streets after midnight." But the teens, fueled by a mix of fear and defiance, stood their ground, their false bravado masking their terror. With a sigh that seemed to carry the weight of centuries, the Houndmaster slowly released his grip on the leash. The last sound echoing in the night was the jingle of the collar as the monstrous hound lunged forward, and then sudden, chilling silence.
Ghost is a Calaroga Shark media production, written and hosted by Alexander Ian McIntyre, produced by Mark Francis, executive producers Mark Francis and John McDermott. Portions of this podcast may have been created with the assistance of AI. Calaroga Shark Media.